So do you think this was too kind to Trump? Do you think it's too harsh? Do you think it's biased? What did you think after watching the whole movie? So we should talk about The Apprentice. It's very timely after the election. And we watched this before the election, right?
Yeah.
So just for reference, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not sure if you are. You're probably not. So, but with this movie, I just want to be very just subjective with it. So I'm just viewing it as a movie. Yeah, and he's like going to be the 47th president of the United States while, we record this. This is November, so I don't know. I'm sure I'll be called a soy boy or something in the comments.
What's a soy boy?
That's one of the many insults they like to use on the internet. So
what does it mean?
You drink a lot of soy, you get titties, I guess, from I don't know, estrogen. It's a weird thing they choose to use as an insult. So
is one of the rare foods that's actually attached to being a bitch. That's a pussy food.
But this was directed by Ali Abbasi, starring Sebatian Stan as Trump, Jeremy Strong, and Maria Bakalova.
Baklava? That's her last name?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay.
Jeremy Strong, he plays Roy Cohn. He's basically the guy who created Trump, right? So, and then Maria Bakalova is Ivana Trump. I don't want to say Ivanka because that's Trump's daughter. His first wife was Ivana. So it's like Game of Thrones, like everyone has the same name. So what did you think? Just general thoughts on you didn't really know much about Trump, right? Going into this. So what do you think of that?
I don't really have any strong opinion when it comes to a movie about how, about a person's, grow. Like this one, in the past we've watched similar movies on different celebrities and stuff, and they're Elvis or whatever.
Yeah.
This is a type
biography.
biography. Yeah. And this is the type of movie that I personally really like, because I'm not gonna sit down and read a book about them. I'm not gonna. Obviously you hear a lot of information about these people, but I will always sit down to watch a 1 hour, 2 hour movie about their life story, and I usually don't have much opinion on anyone, even no matter who this movie is about. I'm just trying to.
You don't have an opinion on Trump, huh?
I'm just trying to absorb information, as much information as I could about this person. So it just kind of give you a general idea of how this person, where did he start, and how his life
or how
take off.
Yeah, where he becomes more successful. He becomes like the celebrity Trump, that he's everywhere. He's more like a marketing guy than anything else, really. Yeah,
but one thing that I try not to do is to have very strong opinion based on the movie, because even afterwards we've watched analysis of the movie or something, and that will tell you that some of the things are not real and some of the things are real.
Yeah, and it's hard to ever really tell. I mean, this is taken from a bunch of different accounts and just mashed together in this.
So I choose not to fully just believe everything that we've seen, but it does give you an idea of who he becomes, which is not really.
Yeah, Sebatian Stan as Trump was very good, I thought. He had his mannerisms down. Yeah, and Maria Bakalova, she as Ivana, I don't think they give her quite as much to do, but that's because this is basically based on the relationship of Trump and Cohn. That's the center of the movie. I thought Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn was brilliant. I thought he was fantastic in this. He's the one that stole the movie for me. So
yeah, let's just say he is great, but it's very hard for me to see his face and think we're not watching Succession.
I'm the eldest boy.
Yeah, well, there was a scene in that early on where it's it felt like Succession with the music and everything, and they're rushing around in the streets of New York, and I'm like, damn, this is like Succession.
The first rule is the simplest: attack, attack, attack.
But it doesn't really keep that tone the whole movie, and that's another thing I saw. A lot of this takes place in the 70s and 80s, and I noticed something where I'm assuming it's probably shot on 35 millimeter, the 70s parts, because you can just see the 70s grain. It looks like it was made in the 70s, and that's what I really liked about it.
Okay.
And then it kind of transitions into the 80s, And I noticed that it was kind of like they had like this effect where it looks like there's VHS bleed on it. It's kind of like blurry and just not like great quality, which I really dug. I just love the style of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Gives the movie texture.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Martin Scorsese light a little bit. Like, I kind of bring that up in like the Joker and stuff, but this really felt like a movie in the time that takes place that it was made in. So this is like very on the nose, a Frankenstein story. Would you agree? Roy Cohn, who said his biggest client is America, right? And this is like on the verge of like Reagan being, Reagan was very friendly to Wall Street and everything. And to the elite. This is kind of like the beginning of that. Greed is good, the 80s. But Roy Cohn, I mean, he's a piece of shit, but he says his biggest client is America. And basically, he's teaching everything a young, naive Trump who, he, at the beginning, he's very like normal acting, right?
Yes, but I wouldn't describe him as naive because I just think from the movie, he looks like a young guy who's got ambition and need someone to like help him, make him dream come true. And at this point, you don't feel any, negative personal traits from him, and it really is who got to mentor him, and can you really blame him?
No.
He was trying to solve a problem for his like family business, right?
Yeah.
Anybody would do anything they could to help solve like a family like emergency.
But that leads to him meeting Cohn, who's a lawyer, and then Cohn basically takes him under his wing.
Yeah.
He's like, don't ever admit you're wrong. Don't ever admit defeat. He's putting all his shitty values really into Trump. But then at a certain point, he's created this monster, right? So I think there's like a very on the nose point in the movie, which I actually really like, where Trump is getting liposuction and getting scalp reduction, and they're literally like stitching his scalp like Frankenstein's monster, right?
Wasn't very fond of that. Didn't have to see it.
Yeah, she don't like needles. And then I think at that point, it's like, that's when you get Trump after that scene, like the Trump that we know today.
I honestly, this has become such a political like video.
No, I'm not being political. Like, he does have like a certain personality. He is very forceful. He's very, he can do no wrong. He's got this like pompousness to him. That's why made him popular in the culture.
I know, but sometimes I wonder if that's even really him. Sometimes I feel like he just talk about those shit because he knows it's gonna blow up and become like trendy. Like I said, I don't want to discuss this. But I think from the movie itself, you can't expect that you pass on your value to someone. They're gonna develop their own like and extend that value into something more. And unless during your mentoring you really like tell him this is where the boundary is supposed to be set, which I
don't think Cohn even had, sort of had boundaries, but very little.
So how can you expect, your trainee to know like where to stop? If they do betray you in the end, that's what you taught them to do.
Sebatian Stan, who played Trump, what did you think of his performance?
Oh, I think he's pretty good. He did the lip stuff. He did the hand thing. Which, it's just entertaining, I think. And yeah, like I said, I always like a movie that biography.
All right, so he had his love for America. He created this monster. They had like this very on the nose. They give him a cake, Roy Cohn, because Roy Cohn, he gets AIDS, and he presents him a cake of the American flag, facing him upside down, and it's got like little sparklers on it, like it's a burning American flag that's upside down. Like, American flag upside down means the country's in distress.
Oh, I guess I didn't pick up that.
Yeah, it's just little things like that. But anything you didn't like about the movie?
No, like I said, when it comes to like biography, documentary, or movies, I'm not going to be very subjective. I don't have my own opinion. I am just absorbing information. That's all I do with movies.
Yeah, I was thinking, is this too rushed? Is it too short? I mean, for this, but I'm like, the other option would be a miniseries, right? I don't need a miniseries on Trump and how he became Trump and shit. So I think it's really good for what the amount that we got.
I think it ends on the point it like delivered the message that they intend to tell you. The part where he gave the cufflinks, was that real?
I am not sure.
I would like to know.
Yeah, he's done stuff like that before, but yeah.
I mean, I feel like if it's not real, then I understand what the movie, because then the movie was using that to try to portray personal trait, but if it's real, then
he's very cheap. But
he's rich.
There's this. Okay, I don't know who it was. It was some paper who kept like mailing checks to billionaires to see how far they would keep cashing them, and they kept sending these checks, and then eventually it'd be such a little amount that they would stop cashing them. They sent Trump a check for a penny, he would still.
Well, okay. You never know if Trump is the one who's like, hey, cash that penny, which I doubt. I feel like he must have a secretary.
He was one of the very few who still cash those checks.
Okay, I'm just gonna assume he has a secretary. Like in the beginning, he's like, whenever it comes, just cash it. And then maybe, I cannot comment on things that I don't know if it's a fact.
It's a fact because they did a story on it.
Well, I just
I'm not telling you.
I just want to know if he actually gave fake ass like worthless cufflink to one of the most important person. Let me look it up. In his life when they're like almost dying, because that's not just cheap.
Director Ali Abbasi recently told Movie Maker that the scene was based on real evidence. The fake cufflinks that Donald gives to Roy on his birthday, that happened. And there's other stories that said that. Yeah,
well, that is very, very sad.
Yeah, from 2016. It says once Donald Trump once gifted his best friend diamond Bulgari cufflinks. They turned out to be knockoffs.
Well, the thing is, that's beyond cheap. That's not you like seeing $5 on the ground and you pick it up and put it in your pocket. This is like very ungrateful, and I hate ungrateful people. Just like you have your own strategy in the business world. Some of them are very forceful. Some of them are ethical. I can understand that part.
Yeah.
Like you do whatever like you have to do to like go as far as you can in the business world. But I think inside, I'm not. You still know who you should think for to make you who you are today.
You don't. You got to be cutthroat, and that's apparently what people want in a leader. So,
but things like that, fake cufflinks, that is just kind of disgusting.
So, do you think this was too kind to Trump? Do you think it's too harsh? Do you think it's biased? What did you think after watching the whole movie?
I think it's kind enough.
It doesn't paint him as like a monster, especially at the beginning. Like, he comes from a fucked up family. His brother dies of alcoholism. His dad is a piece of shit. Like, and a lot of that is real about his dad.
The way the movie goes about him, his life, his changes, it really humanized him. It kind of gives you the reason why he would do this, why he would be this way. It gives you the reason, It's not like he just decided to be like a bad person or evil, like, with the blink of an eye. There are reasons why he decided to
I thought it was a fascinating journey of the influence Roy Cohn. He's basically Roy Cohn, maybe a little bit worse, and Roy Cohn sees that, and I mean, that guy was not a good guy either. So
No.
I thought it was fair though, because they showed all these ingredients, the lack of a father figure, this guy taking over that father figure role and like putting all these terrible things into him. But I thought it was like fascinating, and I'm sure it's got some, it leans one way or another in certain areas. But yeah, I thought it was pretty fair for what it was.
I think it's if the main most parts are like real. What was the word that you used? Fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it like demonized him in any way.
What are your overall thoughts and rating on this?
I would say I will always like all biography themed movie.
Yeah.
And this one is a 4 out of 5 for me, not because of how, not because of how amazing this movie did for me.
Yeah, you learned a lot more.
Yeah, just because I learned things
Yeah.
in this movie. Yeah, and the movie itself is pretty good.
I thought it was very good, actually. And
yeah, I think I didn't pick up on some of like the detail about style or whatever that you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, I'll go 4 out of 5 too. I thought it was fair enough for him. It's like incredible how well it was made. It just came like beginning of October and kind of like went and came without any fanfare in theaters, and I wasn't really expecting much, but hell, I liked it a lot. And that's just my subjective opinion. I mean, I think it wasn't like a propaganda hit piece on Trump.
No,
Nah.
which is also another reason why I like it. I feel like you said, it's pretty fair. It did not portray him as some evil monster, because if it is, then I would question, what I watched,
I mean, I don't think it shows him in a great light either, but I think it for someone like him, I don't think and I have my opinion to Trump, but
him color, like, you understand him as a person.
There's depth to his portrayal in this. So and yeah, I didn't want to see him as president. I didn't like him as president. I don't want to see him as president again, but I think this is a fair portrayal of him.
Yeah.
And I think it's like people take stuff the wrong way. Like, we just watched The Sopranos. We watched Breaking Bad and stuff. It's like the anti-hero thing that came out of, people obsessed and idolizing Tony Soprano or Walter White or something. And I feel like some people will take that from this movie, like the people who are approaching him. He's like, hell yeah. And then, like the liberals like myself, or it's kind of like, I can see where he came from. He acts like he's like the self-made man. Like, I came up with all this. The art of the deal is basically everything Roy Cohn taught him.
The thing is, okay, I feel like you indicated that was me who like idolized the.
Well, no, I mean, there's definitely like people who think people who think Homelander is the good guy in The Boys. There's actually people who think that.
I think, I like these characters. I like Joker. I like Tony Soprano.
But do you look up to him? Do you idolize them?
I don't.
Okay.
Like, if in real life there's a person like that, I am not gonna choose to be their like friends or whatever. Like, or I do not look up. I don't want to be them.
Yeah. You don't want to be like them.
Yeah, because right and wrong.
It's fascinating to go on their journey, and that's how I feel about this movie, right? So, yeah, I liked it. I say check it out. Both sides, check it out, whatever side you fall on.
Yeah.
Make America great again.
Well, I like the again part.
What did you think of The Apprentice? Let us know down in the comments. Let us know what you thought of our review. It's just our opinion. Hit the bell icon, and we'll see you later. Bye.